Captain's Log Supplemental. One of our engineers started growing mushrooms in one of the Jeffries tubes near medical. A bunch of the crew started getting headaches and had allergic responses as a result. The crewman in question said he was, and I quote, trying to access the mycelium network, but I'm pretty sure that he and his friends were just getting high. The last thing any of us wants are some oversized tardigrades on board. They look so creepy.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Captain's Log Supplemental. I am Stanford, one of the hosts here, and I am joined, as always, by my co-hosts, Rob.
Hello.
And Chris.
Hello.
And we are joined by our lovely producer, Mariah.
Hi there.
Captain's Log Supplemental is a Star Trek rewatch podcast where we're watching through all of Star Trek in chronological canon order. We are in the last couple episodes of Enterprise, so pretty soon we'll be moving on to different horizons, whether they're newer and better. Well, they're certainly newer. I don't know about better, though.
Yeah, they will be newer. It probably depends on the person whether or not it's better.
True. If you like what you hear, or if you don't, I don't care. Give us a rate, give us a review, tell your friends, tell Star Trek communities, etc. We actually have been getting a few more downloads the last couple weeks, so, you know, I'm hoping we're going to be hitting that big, 100 episode mark pretty soon. So, right at the beginning of Discovery, in the first few episodes. So hopefully that'll, you know, start bumping us up a little bit more in the various algorithms.
I was going to say we're darn close, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think this show had 96 episodes total. So yeah, we're almost
felt like 96,000.
Wait, is today the last one?
No, there's one more. There's one more.
Yeah. No, it definitely is the last one.
It's the last real episode.
There are no more episodes of Star Trek Enterprise after this one.
Man, I don't know. I feel like the last episode gets a lot more hatred than it really deserves. Not that I'm one to be this show was great, but I feel like the people's complaints about that episode are have you been watching any of this so far? That's the line.
I mean, you said the same thing about Threshold.
Yeah, and actually, it turns out Threshold's pretty fucking good.
I don't.
Yeah, we'll get
agree.
there. We will get there.
That's a few hundred episodes away.
I will pay you money if you rate Threshold less than a 3.
I feel like this is an easy win for me. I remember Threshold. I watched Threshold several times.
Sure. After watching this show, Threshold's easily a 3 or a 4. Oh my god. Standard Trek at a minimum.
All right. Set a Siri reminder for 4 years from now.
4 years from now. I don't have any non-Star Trek banter this week, I don't think.
I got nothing. I mean, our only thing going on is shitty politics stuff and meh.
Ugh.
The new Civ 7 patch dropped.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Great.
Oh yeah, they fixed a fair amount actually. You can unload troops directly into your commander's tile now, Chris.
Fucking finally.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like there was something else on there that I was oh, Chris is gonna love this, but I don't remember what it was.
I didn't look at the detailed notes. I saw the highlights of them, but
yeah, I didn't go through. Well, there was a Potato McWhiskey video today that went through them in detail, and so I was watching that as well. But then we were playing with Liam.
I would like the city statistics to have an actual point, the the city details, and you get the quote unquote breakdown.
Yeah, with the breakdown where it just tells you the same information but in a longer list. Yeah.
Yeah, it's oh, okay, I'm getting this much food in the city. Okay, well here's what's the breakdown? Okay, here's the positive, here's the negative. I'm yeah, I know what the end result is. Where are all of these coming from?
Yeah, no, fuck you. They did include, like, when you put down a warehouse building, they did include, like, it tells you how much you're going to get from all your shit around there that benefits from it now.
Oh, nice.
Which is kind of nice. So, yeah, you're going to, like, drop a brickyard. It's, like, plus 14 hammers. It's like, fuck.
Yeah, the only thing we got that high before was, like, the grocery. Or the grocer or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, 16 food.
So this is real riveting podcast. But anyways, we're now a Civilization 7 podcast.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get to it then. So this week's episode is called Terra Prime. It is a conclusion to a two-part series where Peter Weller tries to blackmail the entire human race.
Yeah,
so, you know,
that's pretty accurate.
Normal Peter Weller shit.
He's a good evil guy.
He's a
Really?
good certain type of evil guy, which is just kind of like straight-laced. Like, he doesn't do I don't know. He doesn't have a big range, but like
Right.
inside
like-
his range, he is just like, he's just there.
Yeah, he plays a good evil guy.
We got a recap of last week. I didn't watch it. And then we just kind of like watch everyone else's response to Peter Weller's like evil speech.
Yeah, this is evil guy monologue. Yep.
Yeah. So, and I guess like, I don't know, evil speech is the kind of is unfair to Peter Weller. It's more of like an ultimatum. It's like his demands, right?
I enjoyed the talking on the bridge while they try to figure out a way to subvert the plot. But
Right.
couldn't come up with one.
Yeah. Although,
Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off,
yeah,
turn it off.
and I'm like, I know Enterprise doesn't have a way of blocking this, but like nobody does. Like nobody in charge of anything can deal with this. After Faith of the Heart, we come back to basically a guy saying, "No, we can't do anything about this."
Yep.
Peter Weller shows everybody the baby through his broadcast. He's like, "This is no ordinary child." Although, like,
Let me see the baby.
I don't know, dude. Like, putting an adorable baby on as like, look at this evil shit. Like,
Right.
probably hurt your cause a little bit.
I'm like, oh, baby gets screen time during the evil monologue. All right.
Yeah, it was a cute baby too. Cute baby. Cute little baby ears.
I noticed later on in the episode, like they had the ears on full display, but later on in the episode, they had the baby hat. Strategically placed over the tops of the
because
ears.
I'm sure keeping Vulcan ears on a
Prosthetics,
newborn or
yeah.
on an infant is not easy. He says in his speech that they're dedicated to the protection of the diversity of life. I guess as long as it's just not near him. That's
As long as there's no diversity whatsoever.
He's like, we like diversity over there.
we like it like separated or like segregated in another section.
Right.
I like our diversity over there.
So anyways, I don't know, president, prime minister, whoever this dude is.
Head politician dude.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be like the prime minister of Earth.
Of course, it's a white guy.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of white people in this. He's like, shut it down, and like, no, they can't, and so on and so forth. The Enterprise gets like close because they're like, we're gonna take them out, and I guess like, so they took over this array on Mars that is used to fuck with comets.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it's good enough to like shoot something as small and nimble as the Enterprise, even though it's designed to hit like large, slow moving objects. 2% of it nearly destroys the Enterprise. So like it's a pretty potent thing. So that's cool.
So I have a follow-up question to my last episode question. Why didn't like the Zindi just like steal this? Why bother? Why bother building your own death ray if the humans have one in
right
range
there?
of Earth?
It's right there.
We've got
Like,
death rays at home.
It's the next planet over. Like, that's a good
saying.
question.
Just saying.
The alien ambassadors are talking to the prime minister, and they're like, "Yo, this like, what's going on, buddy? Like this does seem like it's a good thing." The Andorian's like, how can you expect to host a unifying peace talk when like y'all ain't even peaceful with yourselves? Which like a valid point, although also there's this level of like, I mean, there's always like one asshole
Dissenting, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really out of hand.
Yeah.
It's real rich coming from like a people that like they just helped heal a religious and political schism with.
Schism.
Well, I will say it does not look like the Vulcans are raising these complaints. Saval does not seem to be giving the prime minister a hard time. Because Saval is the Vulcan ambassador to this conference, and he's just kind of like, well, this is what happens when you're on Star Trek. Like he knows the deal. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, this seems like the thing that would happen.
The prime minister is like, we need to deal with this. And he's like, we're just gonna blow up Mars and or blow up the station on Mars. And Archer's like, no, let me take a small team in to infiltrate. So like, and the prime minister's like, fine. So I guess like in the combined toolbox of the entire human race, Archer is like the best person to lead a small infiltration team on Mars.
He's got to do it all, baby.
Like there's no one better than Archer, Reed, was it Travis and Phlox? Like that's the small team.
Yeah, the Makos have already been disbanded at this point. So,
yeah, it's real convenient that those four incredibly talented people just happen to be on the same ship. We're seeing Peter Weller and talk to Trip and T'Pol about the baby. For something that they spent like a lot of screen time last week trying to figure out the mystery of like, oh my gosh, yeah, how did this baby happen? It was basically like someone snuck onto Enterprise and stole his jizz. Like that's the entire explanation.
Jesus.
And then we move on.
DNA, not jizz.
Hey, it didn't say what kind of DNA.
I don't know
maybe they just got a jizz locker on there.
So like Fox is like, Chip, it's time for your monthly deposit.
That's an excellent Phlox. You busted out your awesome Phlox impersonation of the penultimate episode.
Yeah.
Peter Weller says, hey, yo, you gotta like repair this thing for me. And Tucker's like, no. And Peter Weller was like, do it or I'll kill T'Pol. And then Tucker's like, all right. And I'm like, why?
You got me.
Why would he help? Why wouldn't he just sabotage whatever he does? Spoiler alert. That's exactly what happens. Archer saying that he's the best person to lead a small team to infiltrate this thing on Mars. Comes to the realization that he actually does not know how to do that. So Reed goes and talks to Harris again.
Because we needed this to happen again.
And I said, oh, good. These people can get into Mars. Maybe they'll send someone who's actually competent because like, I don't know. And maybe this is the question, but like, isn't this what Section 31 is supposed to be doing? Like, isn't this their whole fucking job?
They're like the Romulan division of Starfleet. They just scheme. They don't actually
just scheme.
Much.
Oh, they're schemers. They're not doers. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I feel like
Captain Doer.
The real purpose.
Oh man, we haven't said that one in a while. Sorry, Rob.
Oh, it's okay. I was just gonna say I feel like the real purpose of Section 31 is just to be antagonistic.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yep.
Harris says the line, the student has surpassed the teacher because he's a fucking idiot. And I hate everyone who wrote this fucking show. But anyways,
now I am the master.
He's like, yo, because they're like, we can't get to Mars. Their sensors are too good. And then he's like, actually, they're not that good because the sensors were designed for shitty atmosphere. But Mars has since gotten thicker atmosphere. And they're like, that's good enough. We don't need to worry about it. Which, like, okay, that's fine. I understand. Like, I don't disagree with the fact that the Martian sensors, like, probably aren't as good now that the atmosphere's thicker, but it's not worth fixing right now because the atmosphere's still changing. So, like, let's fix it when they're done. But, like, why doesn't Peter Weller know this?
He's too busy mining.
I guess so.
I mean, he's really a tourist, isn't he? Like, he didn't live on Mars before.
No, he didn't live on Mars, but he's got, like, all these resources and stuff, right? Like, I don't know. For someone with this large sprawling network of hidden agents in every organization, he really doesn't seem to know a lot. The Harris says, yeah, so like once you're on Mars, like you just got to stay under 10 meters, and he can't see you coming. but I don't know how the fuck you're getting to Mars. And Reed's like, I got that covered. It turns out the reason is, or the way they're going to get on Mars is to ride a comet in, which... Did Peter Weller not know this comet was coming? Because, like, I feel like everyone in the fucking solar system would have known about this comet because, like, we told it to hit Mars and it happens to be hitting the next day.
Shut up.
Okay, now just making sure I'm on the same page. Travis says he's got experience with comets, which is a funny throwback. I enjoyed that. So he's gonna fly the shuttle pod, and they're gonna basically ride in the tail of the comet, along with the rest of the team. Down on Mars, Peter Weller talks to Paul evilly. Turns out he's got some kind of tick in his hand. Paul kind of scans him with her little scanner that she was using on the baby to make sure the baby was okay. Back up on Enterprise, we realize that we're doomed because it's all up to Kelby.
No, not what is this regular lieutenant not going to be here long?
Yeah, Lieutenant Cuckby. Yeah, he's still here. Yeah, and this is where I'm like, and the genius Terra Prime people didn't see this comet thing coming as like an issue. But like, you know what? To be honest, Kelby does a fine job. He does his job. So Act 2. We start Act 2 with Travis going to talk to the arrested reporter in the brig of the Enterprise, at which point my question is, holy fuck, why is she still on the ship?
Right?
Like,
that's what I was trying to figure out.
The president is now on the ship, which means that they were like around Earth and stuff. Why didn't they just drop her off?
Archer just likes an interrogation scene so much. He just needed somebody there to just in case he felt the itch for one.
Yeah, that's a good point. Apparently she's from Starfleet Intelligence, but didn't want to tell anybody. There's a mole on Enterprise, which we knew because Peter Weller told Tucker that. But now Travis is finding out. So, but she also said, like, don't tell anyone that I'm from Starfleet Intelligence. And he's like, okay.
But, like, why though?
Yeah. We're going to get to another point where I have a lot of questions for this lady at the end, towards the end.
So I question just like her place in this storyline.
Oh, okay. So we're going to get to it right now. She's useless. Okay.
Like, what does she do?
My
here?
entire
What would you say you do?
Yeah,
here?
I gotta find this reporter lady, by the way, has served no purpose this entire story, is my like second to last bullet of this episode. She did nothing.
I mean, she did something. Someone.
Yeah, she fucked Travis. That was it.
Yeah.
Like, I think the entire reason that she was here was to like work on character development for Travis at the absolute last moment.
I guess.
I have a question. I don't know. Y'all love doing this stuff. Is there a table that tells us how many times people had sex in each of these different shows?
Oh, there's got to be a memory.
Somebody has had to have made this.
This show seems to have a lot of sex.
Like, especially when they were in the mirror universe, that was like,
yeah.
Good lord.
Or the augments on the Klingon ship. They were fucking a lot too.
Do we think this one beats it, or do we think TOS will win?
Oh no, this one wins for sure.
In terms of like actual like on-screen coupling,
not implied.
Yeah. This show.
No, I even mean implied. I mean, like, it's a lot. This is a lot.
I think a lot of like the TOS fucking was more like Captain Kirk made some eyes and a smirk, and then we went to commercial break. And it was like,
fine. That counts. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That counts.
I don't know, but I would expect it's this show. Okay.
It's going to be a potpourri at some point.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so as the small team is gathering, like I said, it is Archer, Reed, Travis, and Phlox are going down to the planet. That leaves Hoshi in charge, that's kind of cool. This is the first and only time that she is left in charge of the Enterprise.
Good job, Hoshi.
Yay, Hoshi. And she does a fine job, I guess. Let's see. Trip is down talking to Weller's lackey. He starts his sentence with, I used to be racist like you. And then goes on. I'm having trouble with this lackey because I'm gonna be honest. I find him kind of fucking funny. I like this guy. He's pretty funny, even though he's a Nazi. Like he's a funny guy. The actor is like mildly somebody. Like you see him in a lot of stuff. He's like this tall, like muscular black dude. And I think he's got a bit of an accent, and he's pretty funny, and he does a good job in this episode. He's Tucker looks like he's about to hit him. The guy goes, "I wish you would." Tucker says, "All right," and punches him. And then the guy just completely whoops Tucker's ass, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, but he does fiddle with the targeting system or whatever.
Yeah, for like a second or two.
Yeah.
Okay, we cut back to the shuttle pod in the tail of the comet.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the infiltration outfits that they chose?
What, parkas and gas masks?
What was that, Rob?
What were up with those? They looked so hideous.
They're so bad. Like,
wait,
they're like
colorful
and shit.
Do you mean the parkas and gas masks, or underneath that the like white
the white and green and
the weird ass like mother of pearl skin suits they're wearing? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't fucking know what the point was of that. It's like, why aren't you just wearing your jumpsuits? Like, you were under a parka. Like, who gives a... But anyways, they're on the shuttle pod. We're gonna let this show go out with a real bang of just shitty CGI, because the shuttle pod in the comet looked terrible.
It wasn't great.
I asked why Phlox is even on this mission, which I don't think was ever sufficiently answered, because, like, what was Phlox there for?
He had to give Reed the barf bag.
Yeah.
Which he did, which was funny. Although that happens a little later. Weller is talking to Tucker. Is he talking to Tucker here? Yeah. About like why Tucker should be helping him. Weller does a good job here. Actually, the dialogue here is pretty good out of him. He's pretty believable. He's not like completely psychotic.
I just want to say, for anybody listening, because you just keep calling him Weller over and over again, Weller's the actor's name. The character's name is Paxton.
Yeah, but Paxton's harder to say than Weller.
Okay.
And I didn't remember it until just now.
Yeah, and you know, the Wellerman brings sugar and tea and rum.
That's true. When he comes. Okay. We see T'Pol loving on this baby. I find this odd.
I do too.
Because, like, I understand that the baby is genetically related to them, but
right.
that doesn't mean anything. Like, that, especially to a Vulcan, in my opinion, but like really to anyone, like, it's a baby. I understand that, like, genetically it's kind of related to you, but you have no attachment to this child. And, like, maybe you're like, oh man, that, you know, I want to make sure my baby does okay, but you're not going to feel suddenly maternal to it.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was a weird vibe in those scenes with T'Pol and the baby. Like, very
it's
out
also
of
a weird
character.
It's also a weird situation to be put in. Like, I don't know. I bought it.
I bought it at the end, but that's because the music worked.
Yeah, that helps.
Back on the shuttle pod, Reed threw up. It was funny. Although we didn't see him throwing up, we just saw like the aftermath. A surprisingly clever little subtle bit of like environmental comedy. It was well done there. And then the shuttle pod, something happens to it, and gasp, we're out of control. Act 3, we're switching to manual. Go ahead, Chris.
No, I was gonna say it's okay because Super Travis can just fucking fly that shit.
Yeah, he switches it to manual. We get some more awful CGI, and then Reed goes, "Can we go again?" It was stupid. And then they kind of go down to the planet and start heading towards the facility. Trip is snooping around in like a supply closet kind of area. For some reason, the sound edit, like the composer and sound editor in this scene decided that Cisco hold music was like the perfect thing for this, because it's like this really wild, like techno remix of something. It's fucking weird. But he's snooping around and he finds something. I don't remember what though.
MacGyver. So, like, I don't know why. After, I don't know, after like decades of Star Trek at this point, why does anyone leave anyone from engineering alone when they're a prisoner?
Oh, that's right.
Like,
He's trying to
they're gonna figure out a way out.
That's right. He's locked in this room and he's trying to find a way out of the room. Yeah. Why would you? I don't know. That's a good question. But also, like, it doesn't have to be someone from engineering. Pretty much everyone in Starfleet is trained in, like, lock picking. How many times are communicators used to do crazy shit?
A lot of.
Yeah. And encryption. Okay, Travis is trying to make up for 4 seasons of not existing by being a badass now. Because, you know, he's like cool. As they're getting out of the ship and getting suited up and ready to roll over. T'Pol confronts Peter Weller's character about him having some kind of rare, horrifying disease. Turns out that he is Taggart syndrome, that is only manageable with a Rigelian like therapy routine. So she's pointing out that, like, oh, so you're a hypocrite because you're taking alien medicine. And to be fair to the Nazi, he's not against alien medicine. He's just against having their gross bodies near him. Like, that's his issue. He never said that he couldn't take some Rigelian medicine. But basically, he's like, I mean, sure, tell everyone that I'm this, and no one's going to believe you because you're a fucking Vulcan, and we're all racist shitheads, so that's not going to work.
Right.
And, I mean, like, that works. Like, she's like, oh, okay, that's a good point. Fuck it.
And it's never brought up again.
The president is trying to order Hoshi to blow up the station because they're going to fire the array once the deadline hits. Hoshi's like, no, we have to give Archer more time. The president says, I'm ordering you to do it. And Hoshi says, you're not in my chain of command. And now I have a lot of questions. Because, like, I guess the president...
the president.
The president
I think he's
of
just
Earth...
a minister.
Is he not the president? Hold on, let's look that up real quick.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure he's just a high-ranking politician.
It's just weird that he was, like, giving orders then.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Minister is what his occupation is listed as. He's a male human and high-ranking United Earth government official.
Oh, okay, so they don't call him, like, an actual president or anything.
No.
All right, never mind. I rescind my complaint.
Good job, Hoshi.
You win this time.
Well, I was going to point out, I was like, so who is in charge of Starfleet? Okay. It is nice that when Hoshi's in command, there are also more ladies on the Enterprise bridge because, like, I guess some diversity gets to happen when, you know, the ladies in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, her station was taken over by a woman and Reed's station was taken over by a woman. There was, like, one dude on the ship other than the minister. The firing sequence is activated down below. Archer and them kind of show up. The problem is that it's going to be like, it's like a 2-minute countdown. I feel like there should be a stop this from happening button somewhere that's fairly easy to see and use. Like, I didn't quite actually, and this is not because I wasn't paying attention. This is because of poor storytelling. Are they on Weller's ship or are they in the facility that runs the comet
facility,
laser?
I assume.
Okay. Because if they're in the facility, I would think there would be a pretty easy, hey, let's stop the firing of the massive death ray button somewhere. But there's not, so, you know, fuck it. But Tucker tells Archer, like, yo, because there's, like, some shooting and stuff. I don't know, I skipped all the shooting in my notes because it was just, like, vaguely exciting phaser fire. Tucker's like, the plasma relays are pretty shitty. Just go fuck with them and they'll shut the whole thing down. And Archer does that. But then Peter Weller's character gets the drop on Archer because Archer sucks and manages to turn the thing back on. He gives another bad guy speech where it turns out he's basically just a libertarian.
So all right, I want to point out you skipped the firefight part. Because, like, the guard dude you liked shoots some people and then fire is exchanged. And they crack the giant-ass window.
Yeah. Yeah.
in this room.
Yeah, don't
And,
you know
like,
how phasers work?
Like, not a little crack. Like, it is visibly spidering out that where anyone can see. And
Well,
Archer at this
no. See, Peter Weller can't see that because he's looking back at Archer giving his speech.
Archer, while getting speeched at by Weller, wanders in front of the giant fucking window.
I thought when that happened, I thought it was part of some cunning plan.
It wasn't. I thought that too. I'm like, he's doing something. He sees the crack and he's trying to. No,
maybe he's gonna like use it as a quick escape out of the room or something once it explodes. But no, it's just he had to wander over to the crack so that it could knock him down later.
Just why?
Yeah, so the window breaks and air whooshes out of the room. It is not a lot of pressure loss because like Mars is more atmosphere in the future with all the comets and shit hitting it. But like I guess the air is shitty enough that like Archer's having trouble like breathing, and Peter Weller's like, I've been a miner all my life. I'm used to low oxygen, which I don't know. That doesn't seem like very good mining techniques, but okay. So Archer tries to turn the thing off before it'll fire. Peter Weller manages to prevent him from turning it off. He like locked out the plasma bullshit or whatever, and then Archer's like, turn it back on, and Peter Weller's like, no, fuck you. So the thing fires towards Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco. But then when it hits the Earth, it actually hits in the water next to San Francisco.
And that's how there's no whales left.
Because Trip fucked with the targeting. Because why would you let Trip near anything to do with this thing? Like, genius bad guy plan. Why would you make Trip fix anything? It's such a dumb idea. But then we find out T'Pol's baby is dying and Phlox has to save it. Did Peter Weller die?
I assumed so. He wasn't referred to or pictured in any other scenes, so yes. I assume he died.
I will say...
No. You see, in a couple of months, there will be a straight-to-streaming special where Peter Weller has joined Section 31.
Do you know how old Peter Weller is?
Well, he was in Star Trek whatever or later, so I mean, it can't be that old, right?
Yeah, he was in Into Darkness, right?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
No.
Was it Into Darkness?
Yeah, Into Darkness. What was I going to say? Peter Weller's character is kind of dealt with here, and I will say, it is unusual in all of Star Trek, not just this show, to wrap the plot in Act 3 and have a whole act of, like, the aftermath, which I actually found to be good. I think that the general structure of that is fine. I think that
like they thought this was the end of the season.
Well, not according to Memory Alpha. Like they already had the next show written.
I understand that, but
So, anyways, in Act 4, this is where there was like, oh yeah, that's right, the mole. I forgot about the mole.
The mole.
Oh, that's right. So Travis is looking at the shuttle pod, trying to figure out why the shuttle pod's two systems crashed at the same time. And he's like, wait a minute, I figured it out. And then it's like, yeah, because both of those systems go through this one thing at this one time. And it turns out that was sabotaged, which like, that's fine. It was a weird, like, tell the audience what's happening in Travis's brain moment, but that's all right. So Travis and Reed, I guess, figure out that Kelby was like somehow responsible for that thing. So they go Gestapo Kelby like real hard.
I wanted it to be Kelby so bad.
I kind of did too. I kind of did too because it would have been funny. But I think this was fine too. Because we all wanted it to be Kelby, so that's why it was a good like adjustment of expectations. But Travis and Reed like going and punking down Kelby was stupid. Anyways, there's a mole on the ship. Archer calls Hoshi because she's in the mess hall talking to the minister. Archer's like, there's a mole in the ship. Do you have the minister in the DFAC? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, all right, keep him there. Travis and Reed are on the way. So Hoshi says, no problem. And then immediately abandons him, and runs out into the hallway. And like, not just like looks out the hallway, like runs down a hallway in order to get to Reed and Travis, which like good thing they were there or else she would have just left him forever. Archer is going into a turbo lift, but he is intercepted by some kind of crewman with a phaser.
Sorrow.
I thought that this was some kind of like city eel shit the way he was acting, but it turns out he was just emotional. My next note is all in caps, Jesus Christ, fuck. So
yeah,
this was surprisingly brave of the show because this guy comes over, effectively confesses his crime, but he's just kind of emotional about it. He's very upset. And he's got this phaser. And then he's like, I don't know, tell somebody something. Tell T'Pol I'm sorry. He said something. And then...
Tell his parents.
I'm sorry. That's right. And then he fucking shot himself. And it was like, whoa, like phaser to the head, camera cuts, you hear the phaser shot, and Archer... Well, Scott Bakula does his best to look offended. I
thought he was fine there.
Bakula did okay. This actor, though, did a great job. This actor can fucking act. So it was like, I was like, oh shit. Like I was genuinely taken aback by that little moment. So fuck. All right. Good job. Turns out we're back in sickbay. Turns out Phlox cannot save the baby. Phlox is crying, which that's rough. The baby has some kind of underlying genetic disorder because of an improperly done technique to like combine the DNA. So therefore the baby is like cannot be saved. The baby dies.
Jesus.
T'Pol and Tucker named the baby Jessica, I think, after
Elizabeth
after
Tripp's sister.
After Tripp's sister. And this is like, why did it take 90 plus episodes for this show to finally do some proper emotional arcs? Because like Tripp and T'Pol like kind of trying to hang out with their baby while it's dying is,
oh my God.
It's rough.
This episode got dark.
It's rough. Down on Earth, Archer is giving a speech to the conference. The walking around during the speech thing only works on TV because the camera is following the actor. Can you imagine if someone was giving a speech and wandered just like behind some random people he was standing next to? Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. But he gives a speech that he clearly didn't write because it was okay. And then Saval starts the triumphant slow clap, which is, this is great. This is where I said I can see how this would have been a good season finale. Reporter Lady says goodbye to Travis. Reporter Lady had absolutely no purpose whatsoever to the story. The only thing I almost thought of was like, well, I guess she told them that there was a mole on the ship, but Travis figured that out by seeing the sabotage shuttle pod. So actually, no, she didn't need to do that either. She was fucking worthless.
She did nothing.
Just a waste of screen time.
Except Travis.
Yeah, she did do Travis. And then we get this last scene where I did get choked up. Like I actually found this to be quite moving, where Tripp and T'Pol are like mourning their baby. And Tucker is like, he's acting his ass off because he is like all sad and like crying and broken up and like explaining how Phlox says that, you know, actually this can work. So maybe someday Vulcans and humans can have babies together and they share a moment, and it's fucking sad, but in like, it's sad in a good way. Like it's a good storytelling moment.
Yeah.
You know, some sad is a feeling that humans feel, and it is okay to have it in your story sometimes. And this was one of those times. This was well done. This is good job to whoever wrote this scene, and good job to Blalock and fucking
Rainier.
Thank you, Rainier's actors for carrying the scene well. I'm glad Bakula wasn't involved because he would not have done a good job. And that's where this episode wraps. And yeah,
fucking Bakula catching strays. Jeez.
Yeah, fuck Bakula, man. Yeah, this show, it did feel like a season finale. Just the way it wrapped and the way...
I mean, it is the finale. There's never any other Enterprise ever written.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, man. So on a scale from 1 to 5, where 0 is threshold, how are we feeling?
I think for... okay, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I gave this week a 4. I really enjoyed the episode. I feel like they did a good job over the last 2 episodes, like exploring this whole like xenophobic villain arc. And like, yeah, at times it was very heavy-handed, but like overall, I enjoyed it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty along the same lines. I think I ended up at a 4 for this one. While the bad guys were cartoonishly evil at times, and not really deep, and there was some silliness and waste of screen time. I think it did enough well, especially at the end of the episode, where it pulled it up to a 4 for me.
Okay. I also gave it a 4.
Hooray.
I think that this was a surprisingly good wrap of the story that they started last week. I think that what made this episode better than last week's episode was that they gave more screen time to the actual plot that was happening between Weller and Tucker and T'Pol. As opposed to last week where they had to, I don't know if they had to, but like they wasted a lot of screen time on like various establishing the conference and Travis fucking what's-her-face and all this other shit that didn't really end up mattering much. Like we didn't have to meet Harris last week. We could have met Harris this week, you know, like the whole Terra Prime like investigation thing just wasted time.
Yep.
So, but this one was done well. They kept it nice and tight. They obviously had to keep it nice and tight because they finished the primary story in 3 acts. And then that last act, the show actually was brave. The baby died. That dude committed suicide. Like the show actually tried to do some stuff with emotions that it has not really tried, and that Star Trek tends to stray away from, especially back then. So, they're not super experienced with it, but it actually worked here. So I also gave it a 4. With a little bit of tweaking, this could have been a 5. So, all right. IMDb gave it a 4 as well. So, all right. Well, with that done, then we will be back with some deep dive. Welcome back. So, my deep dive tonight is going to be about some of the actors that were in this episode rather than the episode itself. Specifically, Saval and the guy who played Harris. As a fun trivia fact, this is the last time that those 2 actors were on screen, like in the same episode of television together. But it is not the first time. They were the main characters in a little show called Alien Nation. So, I know neither of you remember this show very well, if at all. Mariah says she also does not remember it. For some reason, I watched the bejesus out of this show. And having done a little research today, I did not realize it was only 1 season. But like, I watched it enough that hearing the intro song, I suddenly remembered the words to it. And the words are in a made-up alien language made for the show. Okay?
Wow.
Now,
yeah, I'm looking at this. I seeing like the aliens and stuff, and I recall these aliens. So I don't know if I've watched it a few episodes, but
we're gonna watch the intro credits right now, and just to let you know, which may be more apparent as you're watching, this did start in 1989.
That was the scene in California's Mojave Desert 5 years ago. Our historic first view of the newcomer's ship. Theirs was a slave ship carrying 250,000 beings bred to adapt and labor in any environment. but they've washed ashore on Earth with no way to get back to where they came from. And in the last 5 years, the newcomers have become the latest addition to the population
Rambo
of
6.
Los Angeles.
And he busted the fuck through that window.
Oh man, Savall with the hair.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that is the guy who played Harris.
You know, I am not shocked that in 1989 this show had 1 season.
So actually, stand by on that because there's an interesting story behind that. You should also not be surprised that this is a 1.5 minute intro.
Oh man. Oh, they just don't make them like that anymore, do they?
Nope.
I have no memory of this show.
So random.
Oh man, and that's I believe from the pilot. He that scene. All right, that's enough of that. So Alienation, okay. Alienation was a buddy cop show from, like I said, 1989. It ran for 1 season. To give you an idea of the kind of people that watched this show, the tomato meter for this show is 43%. The popcorn meter is 100%. Now that is with fewer than 50 ratings, which means that like only a few people A remember the show and B liked it enough to go to Rotten Tomatoes to rate it.
Alternatively, every single one of those 50 reviews is one of Stanford's alt accounts.
Oh my god.
I'm sure his mom dropped a couple of reviews because that's who he watched it with.
Yeah, my mom and my dad, actually. My dad liked it too. It's one of the few shows the three of us would watch together. That and Star Trek pretty much. And Cops. We were in that Cops era for a while there. So Alienation was originally a movie in 1988. It did okay. It was a mild success. Like it did not lose money, but it wasn't like a box office blowout or anything. It did not have these actors in it. It had other actors, a couple of fairly no names, and then one guy. I don't remember. There's a relatively big named actor in the Alienation movie. I have to go find it because I'm sure John knows, and he's gonna make fun of me if I don't go find this information.
Morgan Freeman.
Mandy Patinkin. Mandy Patinkin's in it.
Oh, Mandy Patinkin. Okay.
I think Mandy Patinkin may have been the alien, may have been Francisco, but I don't know for certain.
I don't know who Mandy Patinkin is.
He's
Inigo Montoya.
You killed my father. Prepare to
okay.
die. That's Mandy Patinkin.
Yep.
He's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yes. Like
Every
he's
time
definitely one of those guys who's been in some memorable things, but I don't know. He's never been like an A-list actor or anything like that.
Nah, he's always like a supporting role. I can't think of what movie that starred in Mandy Patinkin. Can't think of a single one.
I think he's been in some more recent shows in his older years.
That's true. He has been in some TV shows. Like I said, a mild success. Not too bad. The writers for the show actually based the show on the movie, enjoying it. The movie came out in 1988. The show came out in 1989. That's how quick they turned this around. The writers of the show are not the same people as the writers of the movie. I was under that impression at first, but that is not the case. I thought that the movie was made and then they intended it to run into a show. I think I've even said that before on this podcast. That was an incorrect. Believe it or not, I was wrong about something. So that is not what happened. The movie existed, and then the people were like, "We can make this fucking show," which kind of makes sense because the show's not really like very hard to make because the aliens are just like people with bald caps. So like the effects aren't that hard. The show ran for a year. It was canceled. The reason it was canceled was not because it was unsuccessful. It actually was wildly successful for the time. everyone seemed to like this movie as it was coming out in terms of like the viewers. Critics were a little more critical of it, and we're going to get to an actual article by a critic that I'm going to read. But the it ran for one season from 1991. It was one of the few successes of the fledgling Fox network at the time. However, the network suffered from financial shortage caused by lower than expected advertising income. As a result, Fox executive canceled all of their dramatic series for the 1991 season. So a second season of Alien Nation, which was like hinted at as a cliffhanger and was like kind of in the pre-writing process, was just canned. They ended up doing a straight to TV movie out of like their scripts for the second season, which apparently was very well received. Actually, apparently everyone liked it. So, which is, again, surprise. It's a shock because it ran for one season. It looked campy as shit. This show probably sucked, but it turns out my memory is fairly accurate. It was a pretty good show and everyone seemed to kind of like it. But like, it showed up at the wrong time because Fox was having financial issues in other places too. And so this show just kind of got roped into the cancel everything sweep. So yeah, it ended up with a few made-for-TV movies that were all relatively well-received as such things go. And then that was it. Sci-Fi Channel thought that they were going to pick it up. They never actually did because they decided to do reality programming and wrestling instead. Yeah, Sci-Fi Channel got weird.
Yeah.
So, in terms of what the show is about, again, buddy cop, aliens in LA, there is some obviously relatively heavy-handed, like, minority relations stuff, and that's what the critics kind of hammered a lot, was like, this is a little heavy-handed. Like, okay, we get it. They're aliens and stuff. And it's like 1989, so you get what you get. And speaking of what you get, I'm going to read for you an LA Times article from 1989 about this movie, about this show, okay?
Okay.
Well, rather, the whole article is about all kinds of shows. This is the Alienation section of it. Alienation gets a 2-hour debut at 8 p.m. on channels 11 and 6. Yeah, channels 11 and 6. Hereafter to air at 9 p.m., following the return of 21 Jump Street, as Fox adds a third night to its schedule. The inspiration for writer-producer Ken Johnson's story is the 1988 theatrical movie of the same title, but despite that title and science fiction aspirations, Alienation is mostly a routine humanoid in extraterrestrial clothing and a heavy-handed metaphor for earthly social injustice. It's 1995, 3 years after the crash landing in the Mojave Desert. Aliens that act like humans, talk like humans, and look like humans with melon heads are being tenuously blended into Earth society. Echoing the racism that gridded the Black civil rights struggle, alien integration brings out the worst in some humans.
I see that word.
Oh, am I still streaming? As the epithet slag surfaces as a companion to what I am going to say is the N-word, although in 1989, the LA Times felt it totally fine to just write that word out. It is on my screen right now, and it makes me very uncomfortable.
You're far too white to be reading that word.
Boo! There's rumbling, even among some blacks, about aliens bringing down property values when they move into the neighborhood, talk of excluding them from human schools, and of permanently denying them the vote. With this as background, formulaic TV rears its familiar head as Los Angeles police detective Matthew Sykes, Gary Graham, that's Saval, is assigned a new partner in George Francisco, Eric Pierpoint, who is Harris. Sykes resists. He is human. Francisco alien. Even worse, Sykes is a hot-tempered maverick. Francisco calm, cerebral, and straight-laced. These guys get along? No way! Meanwhile, there's a mystery, the missing body of a suicide victim whose face was covered in ooze. Actually, Alienation is covered with ooze. For one thing, it's about as subtle as an AK-47. For another, its aliens lack interest because, except for looking a little different and humming like tuning forks when engaged in sexual foreplay, which that's a real thing. I remember that. They're almost human clones. Unlike other minorities, they seem to have no qualities peculiar to their own kind.
My God.
What the fuck?
All right.
After only 3 years, they have adopted our values and speak perfect English. An exception is Francisco's insolent teenage son, Buck, Sean 6, a reverse racist who hates Americans and refuses to speak their language. Wasaka Tomilo, he snorts, kids. Oh,
Reverse
man.
racist. Wow.
I was reading through, I was trying to find like a good article that talked about the show, and I read through this one, and when I saw the N-word in there, I was like, oh my fucking God, I'm going to have to use this one. What a time 1989 was. I was 4, so I'm not to blame. Let's see. Oh, John, you were 14. It's your fault, John. I'm going to blame you for 1989.
Damn.
All in all, a pretty good show. This is one of those shows that, like, if we ever, like, end up with a Patreon and start making some cash and can, like, do extra shit, I would love to run y'all through the, like, 12 or 14 episodes of this show. Because, like, I think we would have fun with it because it's so fucking 1990, like, it's everything. And it's got Saval, so it's Star Trek related.
Yeah, tangentially.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. So Mariah, did that intro spark any memories, or you don't remember the show at all?
None.
Oh, interesting.
Not at all.
Yeah, I didn't realize quite how much I had watched it until I was like sitting here earlier today humming along to this song I had no memory of, like a Manchurian Candidate that got activated. Oh man, good shit. All right, that's all I got. I guess we will be back after a little break with some potpourri.
And we're back. All right, so for today's potpourri, since we are in the penultimate episode of Star Trek Enterprise, Rob, I promise you it's true, I figured we'd do a little bit of penultimate episode trivia throughout Star Trek. So this is just going to be kind of first the poll. I'm going to read out the question, and then whoever gets it first gets the point. You ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. This episode, broadcast on March 14th, 1969, sees what 3 crew members trapped in 2 time frames of another planet's past?
Spock, Kirk, and McCoy.
Bingo. One for Rob.
Like, who else would it have been, though?
Right.
The first one's easy. I mean, come on.
I mean, there might have been Scotty, you know.
Could have been. All right, next one. Titled Preemptive Strike and directed by Patrick Stewart, this episode explored which characters' divided loyalties.
Loren.
Close enough, Rolaren. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who?
Rolaren. The Bajoran.
He served on the Enterprise D.
Man, I don't remember this at all.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, all right. Sorry.
She's the one who, like, joins the Maquis.
Oh, yeah. I remember her.
Yep. Yeah. She also makes an appearance in Picard, remember?
Sure. I definitely remember that.
Yeah, she dies.
How many
Anyway.
ones that are not specific character names? Because I'm
Spoilers.
not good at that.
All right. In the first part of a 2-parter, Admiral Janeway travels back in time to change a decision.
Voyager.
I didn't ask the question yet. Admiral Janeway travels back in time to change a decision that prolonged Voyager's journey by how many years?
Oh,
72.
oh shit! You're fucking surprisingly close. Wait.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Wait. Whoa. Wait. No. Hold on. I'm thinking of something else. 27.
Nope. It was 16.
Okay. 70 was their.
Close
70 was their initial guess on how long it would take,
Yeah.
but then like a bunch of shit sped them up a bit.
Yep. All right. In Dogs of War, after the Dominion wipes out the Cardassian rebellion, Damar, Garrick, and Kira go into hiding where?
Huh.
On that weird Bajoran light sail ship that they fixed.
Incorrect. I don't think any of those characters actually got on that ship.
Can
There was
you
just
read the whole
Cisco.
question again?
Yeah. In Dogs of War, after the Dominion wipes out the Cardassian rebellion, Damar, Garrick, and Kira go into hiding where?
Kronos?
No, they are on Cardassia, and they hide in Garrick's childhood home.
All right. I don't like that. When you said go into hiding, I was thinking like a political thing. I didn't think it was like, where did they hide? Like that feels like a different question. I wouldn't have gotten it right anyways, but it does. I was not even thinking like at Garrick's house. Like that was not part of my options in my brain.
Yeah, remember then like his like, I don't know, live-in maid or whatever, or caretaker still there.
Hey, guess what, Chris? No, I don't remember.
All right. In Fisher Quest, what first contact character makes an appearance? This is the penultimate episode of Lower Decks.
It's got to be Zephyr Cochrane.
It is not. Rob, do you have a guess?
Oh, I guess Zephyr Cochrane.
Oh, fuck. I remember now.
Yeah? Who is
Fuck.
it?
I'm going to let Rob take a stab at it before I try to take it. Yes, I remember now.
Other memorable characters? I have no.
As a hint, well, Zephyr Cochrane is incorrect.
Is it the Borg Queen?
Far
No,
off.
no, it's the black
Is
lady.
it Zephyr's daughter?
Yes, Stanford, you're right. I'm not going to give you the point because you didn't give me the name, but it's Lily Sloan.
Lily. I was just about to get there. I was trying to remember her name, but yeah, Lily. Yeah, because she shows up on that crazy ass ship from the other dimension.
Yep. In the Enterprise area uniform.
That's right. Yeah.
All right.
Fuck.
In the episode Mirrors, who does Captain Burnham leave in command of the ship?
Saru.
Nope. Remember, this is the second to last episode.
Yeah.
I haven't watched past season 3 yet.
Oh,
is
really?
it that?
Okay.
Is it that? Fuck, man, I'm so bad at names. Is it that guy with the weird ears that was her first mate reluctantly? He had his own ship for a while.
Accurate. I'm going to give it to you because, he's not in the series for very long, but it's Commander Rayner.
Rayner. Okay. Yeah, I'm so bad at names.
Yeah, he got demoted to commander and joined as her executive officer. All right. In
guy who doesn't like small talk.
Yeah, that guy.
Mm-hmm. In Preemptive Strike, what did the Maquis think the Cardassians were planning on using against them? What weapon did they think they were planning on using against them?
Preemptive Strike.
That's not a specific weapon. That's a tactic.
Photon torpedoes.
I guess you're not going to let us know what show this is?
Preemptive Strike. We talked about it already. This is Next Generation.
Oh, I was in different. I was thinking you had one from each. I didn't realize you were going to go back and forth.
Well, yeah, we got enough questions where it's more,
no,
more than
that's
there
fine.
is penultimate episodes.
Yeah, no, that's good. I appreciate that. What was the weapon that the Cardassians were going to use? It's like a bio weapon.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. It's biogenic weapons. Yep.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, Cardassians are assholes. Just gotta think of asshole things.
Yeah. All right. In Dogs of War on DS9, what two characters agree to remain just friends?
Kira and Odo.
Oh, that's a good guess. Was that right?
It is not correct.
Ooh.
Stanford, chance to steal.
Yeah, steal. I'm trying to think of who was together. Was it? I'm gonna go with Ezri and Worf.
Ooh, you're so close. It was Bashir and Ezri.
Oh, I didn't know they dated.
They didn't. They kind of were awkwardly attracted to each other, but decided to remain just friends.
Oh, okay.
All right. In so this is Voyager and Endgame Part 1. What is future Tom Paris's occupation?
Oh yeah. Wait, hold on. What was he doing?
Care to take a stab, Rob?
Holodeck porn director.
Oh my god. It's close enough.
Give it to
I'm
him.
going to give it to you.
Give
It
it
was
to him.
Holo novel author.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
As soon as Rob said hollow, I was like, oh, fuck, that's right.
Yeah.
I know, the only thing I know about him is, he just kind of was able to miraculously do everything on that show. But also, he was, a huge fan of the holodeck.
I'm going to push back a little bit. He was not able to do everything.
Geez. Okay.
He had to, learn to be a medic and shit. He had quite an arc.
Didn't they all have to learn to be medic?
Nope, just him. He was
Yeah, he was the bad.
literally.
Well, that him and Kess.
Well, sure. Once Kess, yeah, that was Kess. Although Kess was less medic, more actual doctor training.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom was being trained to be a nurse and a medic.
All right. So, final question, unless we need a tiebreaker. In all hour yesterday, which was TOS, what phenomenon is threatening the planet that they're at?
A black hole.
Incorrect.
Fuck.
A temporal rift.
Also incorrect. It was a supernova. Star was going supernova.
I
All right.
don't like this game because I feel like you really dropped the ball by not having Picard and Strange and I guess Prodigy hasn't ended yet.
Yep, Prodigy. That's true. I did do Picard. That's the only one that actually has a final episode that I didn't do, and
because I don't remember shit.
Yeah. All right. So with a grand total of 3-2, Rob is the winner. That's two in a row for Rob.
Hell yeah. This is the beginning of my comeback arc.
All right. Well, as Stanford mentioned at the top of the show, please rate, review, subscribe, do all those things, share with your friends, and introduce to other Star Trek fans. It does a lot for us. And we will catch you next time.
Night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Captain's Log Supplemental. You can follow us on Twitter at PodCLS or send us hate mail at podcls3@gmail.com.